BF 30 still has feelings for his first love. BF 30 is deeply in love with me, 28, but also deeply in love with his first love. They have never stopped seeing each other on/off for 12 plus years, regardless of the several serious, long-term relationships they've been in. She lives across the country and, because of a recent tragedy, is now back in his life. What do I do? How do I confront this? Should I? Do I just leave? She and I are different people, but strangely, share some V-specific traits. I constantly feel compared, or like the stand-in GFPD, LR, in a serious relationship with a BF that can't let go of his first love. I would never want to be competing with some other girl. Obviously his love is split 50-50 whereas yours is 100% for him, and that's not fair to you. If he is committed to you, he should realize he should not make you feel like a placeholder for this woman. But it sounds as though he's done this through several partners already, and this woman is still there, being on and off with him. Problem is, after 12 years, it seems unlikely he is going to want to let go of her. An ultimatum is not likely to be helpful. To me it sounds as though this would be hard to continue. How will you feel after a year of her being in his life? 2, 10, constantly wondering what's going on? I've known people who were stuck angsting about the one for their whole life. It was both sad and incredibly toxic for those they got involved with, not to say themselves. Media and some people love romanticizing the concept of true love, but my advice is to run very quickly. Don't expect him to change. Don't stay, it is never worth it to be a second choice. He will always wonder and wish he had her. Based on what you have written, I would just move on as this will never end. He should have been well and truly finished with his ex. He dropped his best friend and I feel awful. For reference, we are all in our mid-30s. My BF and I have dated for 3 years and lived together for 1. He has been her best friend for longer than he knew me, but I'm not sure how long. In the beginning he was open about his friendship and they hung out sometimes. His family all told me she was a great girl and that I'd really like her. Then we finally met and she was okay. I felt a little jealousy, but she's a very huggy person and was so excited to see my BF like over the top. But it's his close friend and I pushed that feeling aside because all I had heard was great things and I want him to have happiness. They hadn't hung out in a bit and I can be the same way when I miss my friends. I don't ever see that girl physically again. When we move in together is when I realize that they text and talk all day every day. And they only use Snapchat to talk. From what I've seen it's very emojis and selfies mostly. He did show me some of their chats and a couple of them were I love you so much and miss you. Which I tell my female friends, but I would feel so weird doing that with a male. Is that weird? So we talk about it and I do get very upset. I ask him how they met and I get radio silence. I ask if they ever slept together and he blows up, telling me how disgusting the thought of that is. I feel like an asshole and leave it alone. But I can't leave it alone because they continue talking every day and every time his phone goes and I peek, just at the screen, not open it, it's her. Also during this time he feels so distant and he says it's because he feels like I'm always watching him now or I don't trust him. Also I feel why would he get so upset and not just tell me the truth. I ask him to invite her to join us to places. I end up actually asking her directly to hang out. But that failed, and the one time she wanted to hang out he made other plans for us that day and that was that. He said it was weird of me to ask her since I wasn't really her friend and she thinks I hate her. I don't think he ever understood how much I really just wanted to get to know this girl. The other girl who he can tell everything to, and cares about enough to talk to every day. I don't even care so much about them talking so much. I care more that he always kept things about her secret and would go to the bathroom like 10 times an hour with his phone. I don't even know one regular hobby or thing they did as friends. Not even one funny friendly story. Anyway, eventually I do find out elsewhere that they did in fact sleep together in the beginning of their friendship. Multiple times, but it was more FWB than a relationship. I keep this inside and then bring it up to him after she's texting him again and he gets so upset. He said he never told me because he knew I wouldn't like her from the beginning if I knew. He said he didn't want to have to stop being her friend. And I even told him then now things are all out in the open, and I'm not mad at her. I'm mad you lied about her and made it weird. So then he told me he's going to block her on everything and just ignore her forever. Which makes me feel and look like a total asshole, especially to the one girl I really wanted to have as a friend. He said she was really upset at him for ghosting her and that I should know how badly this hurt her. I told him I wanted to talk about this because I never wanted him to ditch her as a friend, just let me be her friend somewhat too. But he told me he never wants to speak about this again. Should I reach out to this girl and apologize, or should I try to bring it up again? I feel like sick from how awful their friendship ended. I feel like I have a lot of apologizing to do and I just don't know where to start. Has anyone been in this situation? TLDR, he dropped his closest friend for me and I feel awful. You have nothing to apologize for. He deceived and lied to you. You tried to be her friend and hang out, but she and your boyfriend didn't want that. He's going to the bathroom and probably texting her. I don't see one single thing you did wrong. Now he's going to guilt you about this. I would really question whether I would want to be in a relationship like this. Good luck. My ex did something very similar. I let it slide because he, like your partner, gaslight me into believing I was crazy. He ended up emotionally and sexually abusing me for the next 3 years. It's a red freaking flag. Personally, I would run. He's lying, he's lying, he's lying. Serious money that he has not cut contact with her. Like, I could not be more sure about anything. Sure, he's blocked her on public social and she's done the same to you. But that's part of the plan to make sure you can't verify he's cut contact. The very fact that his entire relationship with her is off limits to you should have been the end of your relationship with him. When you are important to someone, they should want to share you with the people that they care about. Similarly, as the friend, you want to know the person your friend has picked as their so. Instead, you have the Great Wall. It's not normal, it's not okay. Ha ha ha. What the fuck? This took quite the turn at the end. I'm afraid to ask any more questions about your relationship because even this tiny little sliver just gives me the feeling the whole thing is a total nightmare shit show. Like when you go to a friend's house and they say it's a little dirty and they haven't cleaned up in a while and you open the door and it's like an episode of Hoarders and a wall of stacked magazines falls on your head. Your boyfriend lies to you for years about this friend, basically conducts an emotional affair under your nose, finally gets caught in the lie, does what he should have done literally years ago, makes you feel bad about something he did, and you feel like you need to apologize to everyone. What the fuck? You're probably going to brush this off as /r/relationships doing its /r/relationships thing and overreacting, but seriously. This whole thing just drips with red flags. So many. You sound like someone competing for Doormat of the Year. Your boyfriend is like the gaslighting champion. Assholes everywhere probably come to him for advice on how in the world he can turn something where his is objectively completely in the wrong and spin it around so his girlfriend feels terrible and starts pricing out edible arrangements to send out as an apology. Gross. I would say run, but I seriously doubt you're in a place to even listen to that advice. You still like this creep. Oh, you get my second tier discount. Not at all perfect advice, which is don't apologize. Nobody you could apologize to wants to hear your apology. What's done is done. Take the win and move on. I'm not religious, but I'll make an exception and pray for you. Yeesh. Don't worry, he'll be messaging her again soon. I bet he will be extra nice and lovey towards you for a week or two. But it won't last and you'll be right back where you started with him and her. You should stop falling for his shit and dump him. Father asking myself, 32 meters, and all of my siblings to do an ancestry test just for the fun of it. Awning all. Went to bed with this on my mind, woke up with this on my mind. I don't get it, this emo is clearly a paternity test. After 32 years he's now, covertly, questioning whether or not I'm his son. Granted, the part of me that wants to give him the benefit of the doubt is that me and my siblings mostly have different mothers, but then logic kicks back in by suggesting that he cared not for my mother for 31 years. I'm not sure how to feel at the moment, and I apologize if my writing is without much of a point. It hurts considering I just got married and we just had a baby boy. I'm not sure what to write or think. I feel like part of my identity is at stake. I refuse to entertain the thought that my mother, who I love dearly, would hide something like this from me. I don't want to go there, but the realist in me can't help but to tiptoe around that idea. It just hurts/sucks. Too long didn't read. Father, emo, trying to do a covert paternity test at the age of 32 under the guise of a fun ancestry in a family kit. Not sure how to feel. Just say you don't feel comfortable with the idea, and refuse to do it. He might probe what about it makes you uncomfortable. Well, you don't have to say how or why you feel as you do. Your DNA is your own private information. Removed. I know plenty of people that don't want to do a DNA test for privacy's sake. Can just use that reason and say no. I dunno, Dad, that doesn't sound like fun. I don't really get why it's a secret or something you have to delicately navigate. What about Dad? It sure seems like you're wanting a paternity test for all your kids without actually just saying that. The whole thing is fucking with my head. Talk to me here. What's actually going on? I would make him ask outright. Don't hand your DNA over to those services so he can avoid a difficult conversation. It's possible he's not your father and that your mother is hiding nothing. Dating conception has gotten better, but 32 years ago the medical/science options were far less of what they are now, and it was basically based on when she stopped menstruating, when she tested as pregnant, what she self-reported as the probable date, and then the conception date is actually rolled back to the first missed period. It's quite a bit of info and is generally correct, but there are all sorts of reasons the dates could have been wrong from go. It's also possible that he has no doubt about your paternity, but, again, to avoid hard conversations, he wants all the siblings to do it. BC he has reason to expect maybe only one who isn't you and doesn't want to tip his hand. He also might think you or one of your siblings, or someone on y'all's maternal side, committed a crime and wants the DNA on record so Paraban Labs can find it. Refuse the ancestry test on privacy grounds. And you can see how he reacts, or you can even bring it up. Is there another reason why you wanted to see the results of our combined genetic data? If he admits he was trying to do a covert DNA test, ask if he is specifically wondering about you being his child. If he says yes, I would do a private DNA test to either set your mind at ease, or if it goes the other way, to at least know the truth.